Hi everyone, welcome to the third video in the series between myself, Vinh Giang, and the collaboration with Community Access and Service SA. You see, in this third video, I want to talk to you about the formula for success. Now, I know this can sound quite trite because there are so many different formulas for success. However, I found a very simple formula that I've been following for the majority of my life. Now, I have to give credit where credit is due. This formula I'm about to share with you is called OAK, O-A-K. And I learned this formula from one of my best friends named Ali Tarai, who's the CEO and founder of a company called Future Golf. Now, he runs one of the largest golfing communities in the world. And he taught me this formula, OAK, many years ago, and it has helped me achieve so many of the things I've achieved in my life. And I'd love to share it with you. So join me over here. Let me map this out on the whiteboard to give you clarity. OAK, so O-A and K. So the O stands for outcomes, and the A stands for action, and the K stands for knowledge. Now, when it comes to outcomes, action, and knowledge, this simply, again, is the formula to help you achieve the goals that you have in your life. So you can use the word goals or outcomes, you can use them kind of interchangeably. And let's say that at the start of the year, a lot of us spend lots of time thinking about the goals we want to achieve, the outcomes we want to achieve. So for me, it was, how do I lose 8 kilos? Or I want to lose 8 kilos. I want to get fitter. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to spend more time meditating. So you've got all these different goals that you start to write and you list. And we rarely think about the actions that are required for us to be able to achieve those goals. And we also rarely think about, well, what knowledge do I need to acquire to be able to achieve those goals? We tend to just focus all of our time on the goal and the outcome. I want to get this job, or I want to make this amount of money. That's what we tend to focus on. Whereas in order to achieve the outcomes that you want to achieve, you need to actually understand what actions you need to take, and then also what knowledge that you need to acquire. So I'm going to give you a very simple example. Well, it's actually not a simple example, it's actually quite complex, but let me use an example from my world. You see this studio? This is not a green screen, this is actually a studio that I built. Now, I can tell you that when I first started this journey, I had to build the studio because as a teacher and as a trainer, I wasn't able to see any of my students. And a lot of my clients are from the United States of America. And I'm currently in South Australia, Adelaide. And I can't technically kind of fly there and teach my students, can I? So I had to learn how to build this studio. So one of the goals, one of my outcomes, was to build a virtual studio. Now that was a very big goal because I don't know anything about video cameras, production switches, lighting, backdrop design. I don't know anything about those things. Let me show you a video of, actually, let me just show you a photo of what I looked like when I first started doing virtual trainings. Check this out. Yeah, that was me when I first started. I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of put a camera in front of me, got a microphone and said, ta-da, that's okay. I'll teach thousands and even sometimes, I had a class I did online. I was teaching 37,000 people. And I said to my clients, is this okay like this? And they kind of said, Vin, that's not really good. We'd like you to improve what you're doing. So then I had to learn how to ultimately build a studio like what you see in front of you. Now, if I just focused on, I want to build a virtual studio, I probably would have never ever built this virtual studio. I had to oak the goal. So that's kind of the line that I say, oak your goals, oak the outcomes you want to achieve. So I oaked it. So what I did was I wrote down the outcome. I said, build virtual studio. But then I also wrote about, well, what knowledge do you need, Vin? What knowledge do you need if you want to be able to build a virtual studio? So then I started to read 3 to 4 books on how to build a virtual set, how to build a studio in general. So I devoured those books. And as I ate those books, metaphorically, not literally, but as I ate those books, I started to learn about what actions I needed to take. Because as you learn more about what you need to do, then the actions become more clear. The problem is, most people when they have an outcome, because they don't go and get more knowledge, they tend to take the wrong kinds of action, or action that is not really effective and efficient. And then as a result, they're less likely to achieve the outcome that they've set. So to me, once I've got an outcome that I want to achieve, the first thing I do is I always go and I collect the knowledge. Because I always make the assumption that, look, Vin, you don't know everything. You don't know everything. So let's go get a book and look for a different perspective. See, if you watch the second video, you understand why a different perspective is so important. Because perspective from a different author, perspective from a different expert, and you can get their perspective in a book that probably costs you $14, sometimes even less if you get them while they're on sale. So then the first thing I did was I gathered all the knowledge, which then gave me the clarity on what actions I needed to take. So let me show you a series of photos. You see, with this next particular photo that I'm showing you now, this is when I started to learn more about, which camera I needed. And then I started playing around with lighting. So you see, the lighting here looks a bit too dramatic, doesn't it? It looks like what are you filming? Are you filming The Godfather, Vin? And then I got better with lighting in this next video, in this next photo. Can you see how that photo now kind of looks better? But then if you look at my backdrop in that video, the backdrop didn't look very good. So then I read a book on backdrop design. And then my backdrop is what you currently see now. So I'll show you another angle. You see, because if you looked here, all of a sudden, look at this backdrop. I had to learn how to build this backdrop, to do lighting. I had to learn how to do foreground lighting, midground lighting, background lighting. But again, the way that I was able to do this was that I always acquired knowledge first. And then that knowledge gave me clarity on what actions I needed to take. So then as you follow this formula, again, it's not that complex, but don't fall victim to only thinking about the outcome. Make sure you gain new knowledge that gives you more clear clarity on what actions you need to take to help you ultimately achieve the outcome that you're after. This is what I'm asking you to do. Every goal that you have in your mind, or maybe you've written them down, I want you to oak it. Put them all through the oak process. So if you've got a goal of, say, you want to get into this particular job, say job X, then make sure you read 3 to 4 books on that career path, on that job. Experts have done that job for 20 years, writing books on how you can be better at X. Then once you've devoured those books, then write a list of actions that you must take to help you move closer to the outcome that you want to achieve. At the start of this year, I wrote down all of my goals and then I oaked them all. So my hope is that you'll write down your goals and then oak them so that by the end of 2021, you'll be able to achieve some of the outcomes that you're after.